All right, this is my Project 3 showcase. So I have a list of things I want to get through. First is the scenes. I have a main menu scene and a gameplay scene. Um, the main menu is a little lackluster, but that's because I focused everything on the main game. You have this simple controls, a title, and a button. In the game, uh, there's a lot to look at. First of all, I want to take note of the camera. You can drag left and right to uh, move the camera left and right. And there's also this little mini map up here where there's a rectangle representing what you're seeing on the camera. Um, and then you can also drag it left and right to go a lot faster, and you don't have to make little movements. Um, the next thing I want to look at is um, the UI. So down here we have hot chocolate. That's kind of like a currency. And then you have some units you can buy. So if I click on this a bunch, it'll use up all my hot chocolate. And I can't buy any more until I have enough. And it'll spawn these guys right in front of my base. And they'll move forward until something comes within their range. And then they'll throw a snowball at it. And that'll do damage. Um, right now, there's a bunch of guys here, but they're all kind of stacked on top of each other. So it's kind of hard to tell. But you can see they're just like they're defeating everything in one shot, but that's because it's a bunch of snowballs all at once. You can buy different units. Right now they look the same, but they have different stats. Like you can see this one's faster. Uh, oh, there we go. So what just happened was the units at the enemy base hit it enough until the base was destroyed. And then I won. And then this is the end game screen. You can't click on anything underneath. It draws a rectangle across the whole screen that's a little transparent. And then it'll tell you if you won or not. I can go back to the main menu and start again, and everything's reset. The next thing I want to look at is the actual math that it took to do all of this. So when a unit is spawned, and then they're moving forward, they have to check if something's right in front of them. And that is using a raycast, which I made myself, and then I implemented it in JavaScript. So looking at that right here, I have a Desmos graph that I used to make sure that my math was correct. I did a little bit of research on how to approach the problem and what kind of solution I could make. And then I realized you could do a line intersection between the raycast and then each side of the rectangle. Each side of the rectangle is its own line segment, so it's just check if these two lines are intersecting, which I already knew how to do. And then I can also figure out which point it hits first, either of these, depending on a start and end location. So I was pretty proud of this because, well, it's always fun to play around with Desmos and do math. Then it's even more fun to apply it to a project and put it in code and have that work. And that's how the units check if there's something in front of them and they should stop and start throwing snowballs. The next thing I want to look at is animation. So you can see they have walking animations, then they also have a fighting animation, which is just them throwing a snowball. Then they stand idle until their cooldown is over and they can throw another snowball. I made all the art, by the way, so I animated that in a software called Sprite. Then I exported it as a sprite sheet. Then in JavaScript, I cut the sprite sheet into different pixie textures. I then had like an array of pixie textures. Then I have an animation class that takes in that array, and then has some other data like frames per second and duration. Oh, and there's the defeat screen. You can also hear there's a game over sound that's different depending on if you won or not. Anyway, so the animations, I made like a custom animation class and an animator, which there's just one animation class for each animation, but a different animator class for each unit, so they can all run the same animation, but not so it's not synced up, you know? They can be at different stages of the animation. That's why I made those two different classes. Um, then the last thing I want to look at is the sound. I was pretty proud because I did this in like an hour, like the night that it was due. Um, you can hear the footsteps of a unit, um, and it gets louder the closer you are to the unit and quieter when you're away. Then obviously it also plays a sound when they throw a snowball, which I realize now probably should have followed the same rule where you can only hear it when you're close, but I didn't really think of that. So you can hear it even if you're on the other side of the level. Then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, there's the sound for the game over. And it can handle as many units as you put out. All the UI lines up. It's all very clean and works really well. Except for if you like switch tabs, it won't update other than when you switch back. Well, nothing broke here, but sometimes like if there's two guys starting to walk at each other like this, then you switch tabs. When you come back, the time between frames is gonna be so big that they'll just like skip past each other because there's no interpolation. Oh, there we go. Oh, see. Um, so I'm sure there's a solution to that, but I don't think that was really within the scope of the project. That's basically it. I was very proud of this project. It took me a little bit to work, but I feel like it looks pretty good and it plays pretty good. It's not an entirely fun game because there's not much to it quite yet, but I made all of my code expandable so that if I want to add another unit or make the level bigger, it's really easy to do so. One of the things I was really proud of is this mini map up here. It actually uses a sprite that is the background just shrunk down. I have two different sprites for that. Then you can see the background is repeated. Like this tree is the same as that tree. It repeats twice in this level. But I can have it repeat as many times as I want and have the level go on forever. Well, however long I want. Then the mini map, it'll stay the same width in total. But you know, like this rectangle, that's representing what I see. And it'll scale down with it and it'll spawn in a new sprite instance and like repeat it and tile it along. So if I want to make the level bigger, all I need to do is increase a variable, and then it all works. And then same thing with new units. I just need to add in like the statistics, draw the animations, and import them. And yeah, it's very expandable. That's what I was going for. So that after this class, I can add in whatever I want to make it a full game and actually fun. Also, the buttons have rollover effects. That was something else. You see, when you roll over it, it gets a little bit brighter. That actually took a little bit of research because you have to apply like a color matrix filter to the sprite. And all of this took a lot of research. Like even just getting this rectangle to be drawn was really difficult because Pixie.graphics was updated in spring, and version 8 is like completely different from anything before. So a bunch of the tutorials and stuff I looked up, it was just outdated and didn't really help me. I like seeing all the guys lined up like that. Anyways, that's pretty much all you need to know about the project. I'll end the video there.